What's up, everyone? It's Tanner. I'm back with another video. It's Saturday night. It's getting late here in Austin, but I'm on a roll, so I figured, what the heck, why not film another one? Because who doesn't like talking about direct response and email marketing on a Saturday night? So today's video is about how to make $20,000 from writing a single email. This is going to be part one, where I'm going to cover kind of what this is and what you'll need to do it. I'm going to make a second video about how to do it. I just kind of want to break these up because these videos where I kind of am by myself, talking to myself, can ramble on a bit. And I want to keep them as clear and kind of concise as possible, which is just a good thing to do in general. So I'm just going to break it down into two parts. This first part is kind of like what this is and why anyone would pay $5, $10, $20,000 for a single email. So before I get into it, I called this how to make $20,000 from writing a single email. That's because that's the most I've ever made from writing one email. And it sounds more impressive than how to make $5,000 from writing a single email, which is still really, really good, I think, because email is this thing where it's a big leverage point in a lot of businesses because it can make a lot of money and it doesn't take you a lot of time to write it. Excuse me. So this video is going to be mainly for freelancers who want to make more money from their emails, obviously, but it's also going to be for business owners in a sense that this is something they can probably leverage to generate customers, which is really what this is about. It's about customer acquisition. So it's going to kind of give them a breakdown of how this would work from, a writer's perspective and how it could benefit their business. And it's something they can do to bring in more freaking customers, which is really what this is about. So yeah, to kind of jump off from there, what is this? How do you make, that much money from a single email? Well, it's through customer acquisition, which in direct response is the most important thing in any direct response business. Is new customers. It's the most valuable thing. It's the most expensive thing. It's the hardest thing to do is get new customers. And so a lot of DR businesses live and die with customer acquisition. They don't bring in new customers. They die. If they bring in, 100, 200, 1,000 customers a day, they thrive and they can make everybody really, really rich. So acquiring customers is a very valuable skill. As a copywriter, if you can help businesses acquire customers, you are worth a lot of money, and you can write one email that will bring in yourself. I think you could easily eclipse the $20,000 mark with the right email in the right business, and if you do it in the right way. So yeah, don't let this. This is really. It could say how to make unlimited money from writing a single email. The 20,000 number is just in there because that's how I did it. So I'm kind of just sharing this idea. Don't let that kind of like limit your imagination or what you think you could make from one email just because he's only made 20,000. I'm sure some people have made a lot more from one email. In fact, I know they have. So yeah, don't let that kind of like limit you as a freelancer. Doesn't necessarily mean to charge more. I'll kind of get into that later. But yeah, that's not all of that is to say, do not put a cap on what you think one email is worth or what it should be worth. So what are these emails? To recap, there are customer acquisition emails. These are not back-end emails that go to your in-house list. If you're selling a supplement product, they are emails that would go to someone else's list that will sell that sell that supplement to the customer for the first time, that will acquire a new customer for the business. So you are taking an email you wrote for company X, you are delivering it to someone else's list in hopes that it will capture new customers off that other person's list. To answer the next question, why would anyone pay $5, $10, $15, $20,000 for a single email? Well, if it acquires a shitload of customers, then it is well worth it to the business. I mean, if one email acquires $10,000 worth of customers and it breaks even, it is definitely worth that, just because that's how valuable a customer is. Okay, so what you will need to do this, if you're a freelancer, you need a business to work for that wants to acquire customers through email. If you are a business, your needs will vary a little bit, but you will need first a want or desire to acquire new customers. You will need a good offer, an offer preferably that works on cold traffic. If the offer is running on Facebook, if the offer is running on native, if the offer is even crushing to your in-house list, there's a good chance it'll work on on cold traffic, and it will work on cold email traffic as well. So you're going to want these things. You're going to want either a business that wants to acquire customers. You're going to want to acquire customers. You're going to want a good offer, something that works on cold traffic or works really damn well to a house list. You're going to want a house list. Ideally, you don't need one. This is kind of like a good to have, but not necessary, because this way you can test a lot of different angles and kind of test new ideas and just see kind of what works. And then when you take it to cold, where you've got to pay for traffic, then you kind of already have an idea of what angles resonate. So having a house list is going to help a lot, but you don't need it. I've done it where we could just take the emails right to cold, and sometimes they work, but you're kind of swinging in the dark. Whereas if you have a house list, you can test a lot of shit easier and cheaply, and then take the angles that work on your house list and roll them out to a cold list, and it will probably work pretty well. That's kind of what I found. Some people are a little hesitant to do that. They're like, well, my house list isn't the same as a cold list. It's not, but it will give you a good barometer on what works. And that's kind of what you want. You want some type of direction, so you're not just swinging blind or swinging completely in the dark. You're taking something that's a little bit proven at least and going forward with it. It might not perform as well on a cold list, but at least you have an idea. Copy. You're going to want a lot of copy, a lot of emails, a lot of angles, short angles, long angles. I'll get into that in the next segment, but you're going to basically want a lot of copy to test on these lists. And lastly, you're going to need lists. You're going to need access to lists, or you're basically going to need access to other people's lists or have some type of list. So one way to do that is through affiliates. So just partnerships and kind of networking, where you've like, hey, I've got this offer. It's working great for customer acquisition. It's working great on cold traffic. If I can run it to your list, I will pay you and we will acquire customers. It's a win-win. There are list brokers who do this. So people who just kind of work with a bunch of different people who own email lists, and they broker deals with these email lists for you. A couple of the big players are called Email Abilities or Rainmaker. You could reach out to them or reach out to me and I can introduce you, and then you can get lists through them or access to lists through them at a price. There's a big Facebook group called Direct Response Marketing Partners, which has probably like close to 1,000 members. It's run by an affiliate manager, Dee Braun, who will definitely like help you kind of make network and meet people who could potentially send your offer to their list for either what is called an IO or an insertion order or a fee, or and that's just what we're going to kind of talk about today, is just paying for access to lists. So usually how this works is person A has an offer. So I have an offer that is working on cold traffic. I want to run it on cold email traffic. I'm going to rent a list from person B. Person B has a list of 500,000. They're going to charge me $5,000 to mail that list. I'm aiming to make my money back on that send. So I'm paying person B $5,000 to send one email to their list. I'm hoping I'm going to make $5,000 back. If I make money, great. I just don't want to go in the hole too deep to acquire these new customers. Remember, I'm acquiring customers from this. So if it costs me $5,000 to acquire these customers, and I break even at $5,000, that is a huge win to anyone in the direct response business, because this whole thing, like I said earlier, is about customer acquisition. If you can acquire customers for free, you can sell them a lot more stuff on the back end and just make money. They're pure profit at that point, basically. So you're acquiring customers for free, which is the name of the game. Acquire customers for break even or better, and then sell them more on the back end. That's really like how this works. This is how this whole thing works. So to kind of like wrap up this first part one segment of what is this, these are customer acquisition emails, and how they work, how you end up getting paid on them. So person A has the offer, person B has the list, person C is the freelancer who's going to write the copy for person A. I go to person A and say, hey, if I can write an email that will acquire customers for you for free. Will you pay me a bonus? And the way I usually set up those bonuses is, hey, if this email goes to, if you're going to buy $100,000 worth of email traffic, let's say, for example, I'm just going to keep the math super simple. Person A is willing to spend $100,000 on email traffic. Person C, the copywriter, says, hey, I'll write the email for you for your product. And the $100,000 is a big number, but this is just to keep it simple. And it breaks even over the course of a month. You buy $100,000 worth of traffic, you pay me $5,000. So person C wrote the email, they tested it. Person A bought $100,000 worth of traffic. This email broke even. Person C is going to get a bonus. So really, I guess in this example, person A spent $105,000 on the offer, acquired $100,000 worth of customers. It's still probably a huge win for them because he can sell all the new customers he acquired, a lot more stuff on the back end. I'll get into the numbers a little bit more in the next video, but that's kind of how this works. It's customer acquisition. If the email you write for the business owner breaks even or better and acquires him a ton of customers, he should be happy to pay you a big bonus on that email of $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it may be. Really quickly, the reason I was able to make $20,000 from a single email is because the client I worked with was spending over $100K in media buys on email, and it was breaking even or making the money 4 months in a row. So they paid me $5,000 per month that it broke even. That'll make more sense in the next video, but that's kind of like an overview of what this is and how it can work. So the next video is going to be how to do it, and I'm going to kind of go over that in more detail.